What's your best you had one job story? Putting Christmas lights on the roof of my house. My sister's supposed to be holding the ladder steady. For some reason she just wandered off. I fell 12 feet when the ladder slipped. Luckily I landed in some bushes and no bones were broken. Oh lord, I have one for this. I played drums in high school band class, and there was this absolutely hopeless druggy child in the percussion section. He was worthless, and would usually just stand around in the back and hope nobody noticed him. One concert, the kid's entire musical challenge was a one-note gong solo, as in, the entire band went completely silent long enough for this kid to hit the gong. And then song continued. The director spent probably 10 minutes of the entire group's pre-concert rehearsal time just working on this gong hit, and he ducked it up. There was a crescendo, an awkward silence, and then a gong hit about 3 seconds after the band started playing again. My friend's roommate was a undergraduate research assistant at our university, basically at the bottom tier of a psychology lab. She was instructed to exterminate a group of rats that were no longer necessary, and managed to instead kill off the generation of rats that had been selectively bred over the past couple of years, effectively ending the investigation. It makes me cringe every time to think about the shitstorm that must have followed. I'm a stagehand. A guy I used to work with is famously useless. So useless, in fact, that one night he was actively impeding our attempts to get the show packed up and out the door. Fed up, the person in charge of our group told him, right, your job from now until the end of the night is to stand here, put your hands on this box, and don't move until I come and get you. Just stay here with the box. Needless to say, about half an hour later, useless guy wandered up, having taken the box out to the wrong truck without having been told. We had to unpack half of a semi-trailer to get the ducking box out so it could go where it was supposed to. You had one job, jackass. I did a project worth approximately 25% of our grade. 3-person group. I knew one of the guys was a total jackass and wouldn't do anything. I intentionally gave him the simplest, shortest part which he couldn't possibly duck up. How did he manage to duck it up? He just didn't do any of it and spent the 5 minutes of prep time before the presentation skimming the chapter. My professor was shocked and disgusted by the presentation because it was such a mess. My delinquent partner actually spent 10 minutes rambling about nothing, which made it that much worse. 5 hours of working on the project to fix it and presenting it myself to the professor earned me an A in the course. That sounds like my story. Same basic idea, instead of physics it was math, etc. So, we had to have a bibliography at the end of the report, and like OP we divided up jobs. One of my gamer friends said he will do the bibliography because it was the easiest thing, and so as the rest of us did research we emailed him the sources, and we all show up on the due date and no bibliography. He tried to tell us he left it at home by accident, but we knew he was just too lazy to do it. We got a 50% deduction because we didn't have all the parts in. Even just one source would mean we would be graded based on what we did. So adding the mistakes we made in the report and our 50% automatically, we got a 47%. I later learned he didn't get it done because he was playing Driver San Francisco. That wasn't even that great of a game. Dude. Capstone project in college. On a large team making an electric race car. I was the electrical lead and had 2 other proficient electrical team members and 2 other not so proficient electrical team members. So, while 3 of us designed and built the drivetrain of a prototype race car, I left the other 2 to do the report. They emailed it to me about a week out from hand it in now or you fail time, and it was corrupt. Would not open, no matter what I did, and somehow neither of them had a backup. That is, they probably just renamed a MP3 to a doc instead of doing the report. So the other 3 of us had to throw together a final capstone report in a week. Ended up being over 100 pages. Kind of related, but I had a group in my presentations class that consisted of just awful group members. They would make PowerPoint slides with paragraphs of 12-point font and just read off the slides during the entire presentation. I knew these group members were going to hurt my grade, So I went to the professor's office. Being an honest guy, I said, I don't think my group members are doing a very good job. Her, oh no. Are they not doing their share of work? Me, no. They work fine and carry their weight. It's just that none of their work is very good. Her, after laughing for a bit, oh, no one has came to me with that complaint before. I used to do run crew for my high school's drama club. One day during rehearsal, the chief of the crew left for the day and put me in charge. Each person on the crew had a series of tasks they had to perform each night. Keep in mind, said tasks were things like bring out a table, take off pillows. There was one kid on the crew who was so hopeless that we gave him one job for the entire show, to bring out the bed during one of the scenes. We get to the point where he has to bring it out. His cue was both a line from an actor and an extremely loud crash in the music. He missed it 3 times in one day. The last of the 3, the music stops and all you could hear for miles is the director screaming, the bed, you idiot, the bed. I flipped one too many shits on him that day. When I was a senior in high school, I was stopping by my house to pick up Smash Brothers before heading over to a friend's house. I literally walked inside, picked up the game, and left. When I arrived at my friend's, the game was nowhere to be found. Somehow between me picking the game up and getting in my car, I managed to forget that I was holding on to something and dropped it on the floor. When my son was 3 weeks old, my husband and I were really broke and didn't have a dishwasher. So we used to sterilize the baby bottles by throwing them in a pot and boiling them with water. A few days before the event I'm about to recount, my sister-in-law, who was 14, was asked to keep an eye on the pacifiers as they boiled in the pot while she was watching TV upstairs. Of course she forgot to turn off the stove, and after 5 minutes the water evaporated and melted the pacifiers to shit. So my husband tore her a new asshole about ruining what little we could afford, blah blah blah. Fast forward a few days later, I'm downstairs trying to put the baby down for a nap, while my husband was upstairs playing video games watching the pot boil for 5 minutes. Lo and behold, he had headphones on and fell asleep listening to music. I was asleep with the baby downstairs and the smell of smoke is what woke me up. Big clouds were creeping underneath our bedroom door, so I jumped out of bed, walked out of my bedroom, and was greeted with a dense fog of smoke. So I immediately ran upstairs, where I saw flames licking the roof of the kitchen coming from the stove. I slapped my husband's face several times to wake him up. He immediately freaked the duck out and grabbed the fire extinguisher while I ran back downstairs, covered the baby up in my jacket, and ran outside to the below freezing temperatures of a Canadian winter. I freaked the duck out and never let him live down the fact that he burnt down half of our kitchen when we had been married less than a year. He had one job. This winter, my best friend was being proposed to by his girlfriend right before the new year. I was supposed to pull a plug to cut the lights so he could see the proposal spelled out in glow-in-the-dark star stickers on the ceiling. When the big moment came, I pulled the wrong plug, turning off everything in the room except the lights. The girlfriend had to make out with him for more than a bit while I corrected this. So for my dual credit English course my senior year, we, as a group, had to teach definition arguments to the class. I researched the book, made the PowerPoint, and created fill-in-the-blank notes to pass out to the class, while 2 other girls took my PowerPoint and made it super fancy looking. We had this third girl, whose only job was to create an activity like a game or crossword puzzle or something, and present it to the class. Usually groups always bring candy or sweets to give out to people who do well in the activities. First people done first to answer, ECT. Keep in mind, this girl had 3 weeks to come up with a game. She ducking walks in with a bag of Doritos, not even cups to put them in or anything. She was just gonna hand them out while playing hangman with the words on the notes, stumbling with spelling the entire time. It was obvious she put no effort into it and made all of us look like idiots. So she would just stand there, filling in letters, and chunk Doritos at people. Consider subscribing if you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more of Reddit Universe,